Dave Paulides, CanAm Missing Project, copyrighted edition for our video channel. The executive producer and I are in the house. And Huck's a good girl. Oh yeah. Scratch my head, Dad. Oh yeah. The favorite place for a Pyrenees to get a scratch. Yeah, you're a good girl. Yeah, it's a good pup. You're a good girl. Yeah, Huck's a good girl. We're going to get right back onto it because I've got a lot to cover today. So I hope you're doing well. One of the incidents that's come up in the last couple weeks has really bothered me. Really bothered me. It involves a missing girl from Hawaii, Maui specifically. She was on a flight November 11th going from Hawaii to New York with a stop at LAX. She'd had a boyfriend for a long time. They'd planned a trip to New York. Her and the boyfriend had broken up, but the boyfriend decided to take the trip anyhow, and they would go their separate ways, and they did. Well, at LAX, she went one way, he went another. This was all confirmed on closed circuit TV at the airport, and she disappeared. Now, I know that may sound odd to some of you, but it happens. Happens more than you think. And this one is a tough one, folks. A real tough one. November 27th, here's the article. Let me set this up for you. I have a lot of friends that are my age that have kids. And you know that a large percentage, I mean a significant percentage of children of parents have decided to disown the parents. And I don't mean for great reasons either. I mean, they just don't have the patience to deal with parents. And so there's a separation there where the parents don't know what the kids are doing because the kids are adults and don't want to talk to them any longer. It's a devastating situation. Devastating to parents. Well, this girl's name was Hannah Kobayashi. Hannah and her dad, Ryan, hadn't talked for a long time. Well, when Hannah disappeared in New York, Ryan got on a plane and went out to LA to start looking for his daughter. And even though Ryan and the daughter hadn't talked for a long time, there's a bond there between the dad and the daughter that you just can't explain. I understand this. Dateline, Los Angeles. The cause of death of Ryan Kobayashi, the father of the missing Hawaii woman Hannah Kobayashi, has been revealed by LA County Department medical examiner. According to the report, multiple blunt force traumatic injuries caused Kobayashi's death, which was ruled a suicide. The 58-year-old's body was found in a parking lot near LA International Airport on November 24th, according to LAPD. Officers responded to a call around 4 a.m. reporting a body found in the area. Police said Kobayashi apparently jumped to his death from a parking structure. The Kobayashi family endured a devastating tragedy today after tirelessly searching for his daughter for 13 days. Hannah's father, Ryan Kobayashi, tragically took his own life. The loss is compounded by the family's suffering immeasurably. The family said in a statement released through a nonprofit group helping with the search of Hannah, Hannah is still actively missing and is believed to be in imminent danger. It is crucial for everyone to remain vigilant in their efforts to locate Hannah, the statement read. Hana Kobayashi was reported missing by her family on November 12th after she missed a connecting flight from Maui to New York City's LAX. To New York City via LAX. Since her disappearance, the elder Kobayashi, who said he was estranged from his daughter, had spoken on behalf of the family as they begged the public for help. Quote, "I just wish I could have been there more for her. Trying to find her is everything," he told Fox 11 during a rally outside CryptoCom Arena. Ryan was one of the most incredible, compassionate, loving, yet very sensitive man. He had a really big heart, Lori Pigeon, Hannah's aunt, told Fox 11. "We believe that after 12 days of searching, with maybe an hour's sleep each night, having all the possibilities swirl, we think Ryan basically broke and he couldn't take it and he took his life." The family said they do not believe he had anything to do with Hannah's disappearance. He was just a broken father who couldn't take it any longer, Pigeon said. Security footage obtained by Kobayashi's family shows her leaving the airport on November 8th wearing a black hoodie, tie-dye leggings, and carrying a dark green backpack. According to her family, Kobayashi was seen at the Grove on November 9th and 10th. On the 10th, Kobayashi posted to her Instagram a black and white photo from a two-day Nike and LeBron James event she apparently attended at the shopping center 14 miles north of the airport. Kobayashi returned to LAX airport on November 11th, but did not board a flight, according to the family, who said she was seen talking to an American Airlines agent for nearly 40 minutes to rebook a flight. That's the last time Kobayashi's phone pinged. It was very unlike her to disappear, said her sister. Concerns grew when family said they received strange messages from her cell phone that didn't sound like her. Even in those text messages, it just seemed like her, or it seemed like someone else, or maybe someone did something to her or alter her state, or because she doesn't normally speak this way, her sister said. The family said they also obtained surveillance video showing Kobayashi in the area of Pico Metro station in the CryptoCom Arena. It's unclear when the footage was taken, but the family indicated it is evident Hana does not appear to be in good condition and she is not alone. They said that based on the evidence, Hannah was in extreme danger and possibly being sex trafficked. That fear is still with the family, very fearful. Hana Kobayashi is described as 5'10", 140 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. She has freckles on her face and a tattoo of a knife on her forearm, according to LAPD. This is the missing poster put out by LAPD on Hannah. So I've got mixed feelings about this. Here it is. Airports are one of the most secure areas you can ever be in. Why? Because everybody in that airport, doesn't have a weapon. They've already been cleared. And, if you don't know this, you're under CCTV footage every minute you're in that airport. Any medium-sized or large airport, you're on footage all the time. And nowadays, when you board a flight, TSA actually takes your picture before you board. That just happened to me the other day. And they say, we throw it out right at the end of the day. I doubt it, but whatever. You gotta do it to get on the flight. Now, Hannah's in the airport. She's transferring from a flight to another flight. Her boyfriend is right there. She decides to go a different direction. She decided to leave the airport. Now, nobody can force you to leave that airport, and there was no force seen, woman getting dragged out of the airport, etc. So apparently she left on her own. Why did she leave? That's $1 million question. Then there's rumors that somebody was trying to take her ID, and there's a lot of rumors, but there's no facts. The fact is, Hannah's disappearance killed her dad. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard about parents taking their own life after the disappearance or the suicide of a son or a daughter. I've heard it more times than I can ever explain. Ryan did the right thing by going out and trying to find his daughter. We all would have done it. But once you get to LA and you see the number of homeless people in downtown Los Angeles, it's staggering, overwhelming, and you are not safe. They've got drug dealers, murderers, robbers, rapists all over that downtown area. It's a cesspool. And Ryan went down there, and you got to get down there if you're going to look for somebody who's missing. You don't know what the problem is. Are they being held down there? Are they under the influence of drugs? You don't know. You're basically walking blind through an area of absolute criminality. The poor man was overwhelmed. It kills me. It kills my soul to talk about him. I don't know what the issues were between he and Hannah. That's not relevant. The relevant part to me is, at a time of great need, you stand up. He stood up and he did what he had to do. I know too many fathers and mothers that are not spoken to by their kids. I know these people, there's too many of them. Too many of them right now in this world. Ryan, God rest your soul. This is just another example of separation between parent and child, what it does to the parent. It kills them. All right. I have 2 disappearances for you today. One of them, very recent. And that's what we're going to start with. The man's name was Michael Frison, 25 years old, missing July 13th of this year, 2024, at 5:18 p.m. And what's the most common time to disappear? According to Missing 411, 4 p.m. He was a UK resident. He lived in Shard, Somerset. He was a lifeguard. That's what his occupation was. He had relatives in Sardinia, his grandparents, and he had planned for a trip there to visit his grandparents and to do volunteer work on farms. And he has a mother named Christina Paulides, who lived in Bristol with his younger brother. Now, Michael's younger brother and he were like 2 peas in a pod. They were super close, very tight, talked all the time. It's a picture of Michael. Now, before leaving on the trip, Michael had been communicating online with a woman who also lived in Sardinia near his grandparents. And he thought that when he was out there visiting and doing the volunteer work that he would meet up with her and hang out. Well, on July 12th, Michael's flight arrived onto the island, and he was not ready for what he was about to face. 100-degree temperatures during the day and 80 degrees at night with no air conditioning. How do you sleep? It's brutal. And worse, he's coming from an area where the UK doesn't get hot temperatures like that very often. They do every once in a while, but it's rare. Well, he didn't feel well when he arrived, and he was given water, and people believed he was dehydrated. So he drank a lot of water, went to bed that night, woke up, still seemed a little uneasy. But that day, he got up and he was going to go meet his female friend. Well, he decided to take a hike with a friend. And he and the friend decided to walk off into the northern part of Sardinia. This is where they walked off. Now, the mainland of Italy over here, Rome, Sardinia's right here. And this is where they were at. Now, what I find unusual about this is that I've always said water is everything, folks. Yeah, surrounded by water. It's an island. Well, he went to a place called Luogo Santo. And they got out, they walked for a while. There's a lot of woods, farmhouses and things. Well, they walked and it was so hot that his friend said, hey, I think I'm going to go back. Michael says, I'm going to go on a little further. So the friend stops and watches him walk off, and he gets near a farmhouse. And his friend watches him strip naked. Hangs some of the stuff on a fence, and he walks off into the forest and deep woods. He left his phone, passport, and all paperwork back in his room. Now, that friend said that when Michael woke up that day, he seemed to be confused. Well, the friends notified the police. The police contacted fire control to search. His mother, Christina, was notified back in the UK. And Christina clarified Michael never uses drugs. Drugs were not involved. And she emphasized that Michael was a nice soul. If you see him, don't be afraid. He's not going to do anything to you. But please check on him. Well, being around police work for many years, that when we found somebody that was naked, they were extremely dangerous. One of the things that people under the influence of PCP would do is their body temperatures would get so high that they would strip naked, and those people were the most dangerous to approach. But his mom said, please approach him, check on him. This was all around July of 2024. Well, once the mother heard that he was missing and the police were searching, she and the younger brother got on a plane, went to the island, and assisted in the search, looking for him. There are no organized search and rescue teams on Sardinia. What they do is they use public resources, and that's public expense, that pulls these people from other jobs. Whether they're a firefighter, fire control officer, or police, they're all on the payroll. And the difference from that between here, Canada, and Sardinia is here in Canada, we use the vast majority are people like you and me, volunteers. Doesn't cost the government anything. So to hold us there for a week searching, doesn't matter. But when you're on the payroll every day, they're thinking dollars and cents. They're not thinking lives. Well, Michael's mother was interviewed several times. And she said that the behavior that was described by friends and family is 100% out of character for the type of person he is. The family was stunned by the turn of events. Search and rescue looked for Michael for a little more than 4 days. They found nothing other than his clothes where it said they'd be. Now think about this. A naked man would stick out anywhere. Even if you were walking through a farm field, that would instigate a call by the farmer to the police. And after this, they got nothing. No calls, no nothing. Now, Lake Del Lucia is 3 miles southeast of where Michael was last seen. And that's the only lake in that far northern region of Sardinia. Yeah, this is a highly strange event, and one that we've talked about before, where people strip down. No, this was not hypothermia. A lot of you jump on it and say, oh, he's hypothermic, that's why he stripped his clothes. No. At the time he disappeared, it was probably near 95 degrees outside. And I think anybody in their rational mind keeps their clothes on because that's what we've been trained to do. Now, he did have a bottle of water, his friend said, when he walked away, but that wouldn't last long in that heat. And it's now November 2024. Actually, it's December 2024. And Michael has never been found. So what could happen? This one's really a whodunit. I really don't know. But search and rescue can't find you. Point of separation, after he separates from his friend, he disappears. Strips of clothing on an island. I have no idea. But peculiar case because he hasn't been found. And they have posters all over that island that if he would have searched, if he would have showed up somewhere, I think population would have brought it out. Next case. Remember when I talked to you, maybe 5 videos ago, 4 or 5, about a disappearance of a hunter in northern New York near Cranberry Lake. Do you remember that one? If you don't remember that one, you need to go back and watch it. Because this one is very close. 15 miles 15 miles southwest of where this case happened, on Cranberry Lake, this one happened. So Cranberry Lake is right here, where the other case happened. 15 miles southwest is where this incident happened. Now, this incident, deer hunter missing. This incident, deer hunter missing. Essentially in the Five Ponds wilderness of northern New York. And remember, in the other incident, we talked about Star Lake. Well, this man's name was Edgar get the spelling right, Tabolt. Tabolt. Not Talbot. Tabolt. 54 years old, missing November 4th, 1972. He was a restaurant owner, and he owned a series of restaurants called McCabe's. He was a deer hunter, and he had rheumatic arthritis, which caused him to move very slowly. And he didn't like to hunt with others because they'd get frustrated with him. He'd rather just go out alone. He was married. He had 10 kids. Kept him pretty busy. Now, Tabolt is a German name. Actually, a very rare German name, which even causes me more concern. Now, he had a hunting camp with friends at a place called Great Lake, about 5 miles northwest of Stillwater Reservoir. Water, water, water everywhere. The hunting area was described by New York Department of Natural Resources as dense woods with steep hills, ponds, and beavers. So Edgar arrived at the camp the night before, was seen leaving the camp at 9 a.m. on November 4th, dressed warmly, carrying his rifle, told his friends that he'd return before dark. He didn't, and his friends called New York Department of Natural Resources. Nobody heard any shots from his area. Nobody had seen him during the day, but they had seen him walk away and his car was still there. The Lewis County Sheriff's Office and the New York Department of Natural Resources responded to the call from friends reporting him missing. Now, we've talked about this a lot, the profile of the report that's taken by law enforcement. What would that have said? Would have said that he was an experienced hunter, knew his way around the woods since he was a teenager, had not hunted this area for 7 years, but had previously hunted it for 15 straight years. Nobody, including his friends and family, believed he was lost, and in fact knew the area well and knew about cabins and huts and things in the backcountry that you could hide in if the weather got real bad. November 5th was the first day of the full search and rescue. The sheriffs and the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, led it. And right away, they requested soldiers from Fort Drum, New York. And they got them dispatched. The New York State Police got involved by sending 3 bloodhounds. New York is divided into districts for their state rangers, forest rangers. And they got 50 of them from throughout the state to respond. They also had a helicopter from the Department of Natural Resources that had to be grounded almost every day for certain hours because of snow flurries and cold weather. That first week, they had 30 to 50 volunteers daily that were arriving once they heard that Edgar had disappeared. He had a lot of friends, and obviously a big family, that loved him and were looking for him. And once word got spread out around the state that DNR was looking for him, people started to arrive. Now, Edgar had 2 older sons. Chester was 18, and he was in high school, and he would come out on weekends to search for his dad. But the oldest boys, Calvin and Walter, and a son-in-law, searched daily and would join search and rescue people. And the boys said that if his dad got cold, they all knew that he would go to one of these huts or cabins that he knew about out in the backwoods. So they weren't real worried about that. And they knew that he understood the outdoors so well that he could survive under almost any conditions. Well, November 11th, their 6-day search covered a 4 to 5 mile radius from the camp. And because of Edgar's arthritis, nobody believed he had hiked real far. And this is important. Everybody knew he moved slow. Everybody knew he had this rheumatic arthritis. But that 6-day search and rescue, with the number of people they had and the resources that they had, helicopters and canines, they felt that they had this area searched real well. And they didn't find anything of Edgar's. They thought they'd find tracks in the backcountry. They didn't find anything. On November 12th, search and rescue was reevaluated to an 8-mile radius, and the search commander said that they were perplexed because they weren't finding anything. They searched for another 6 days. On November 18th, the search and rescue was stalled again. On November 22nd, the search and rescue started for a few days, and veteran rangers said that they held out little hope that he could still be alive. But Robert Bailey was the chief ranger, and he publicly stated in a press conference that he thought that Edgar was dead. The family didn't really appreciate this because they thought he was still alive, and they pressed hard. Since so many people were involved and were friends of Edgar's through his businesses, his restaurants, people still kept showing up and searching. And it went on with volunteer searches for another week. December 7th, his 17-year-old son stated, "Dad was very familiar with this area, and we don't believe that he's dead." And his sons and family and friends continued to search. The Lewis County Sheriff, Clarence Woodward, came forward and stated that his men would continue to search until Edgar was found. Well, that's not totally true because he still hasn't been found, and they're not searching anymore. I think that the bad weather probably stopped Lewis County from searching. So this area of northern New York, highly intriguing to me, highly. Proximity to other disappearances. So what about the profile points? Well, first of all, you have weather. It snowed off and on, grounding the helicopter, bringing people in, cold weather, covering tracks. Bloodhounds stayed on the search for days. Never could pick up a scent trail. Water was everywhere. And the biggest one is point of separation. When Edgar walked out of camp, I think something happened fairly soon, because they would have otherwise found tracks in the backcountry, and they didn't. But they didn't find anything of Edgar's. Any food, water, rifle, nothing. How can that be? Very similar to the other case at Cranberry Lake. Very similar to other cases in northern New York where they found nothing. So friends, how can I greatly appreciate you being here? Remember, you get this hat for free if between now and when we close on about the 12th of December, you buy 2 Missing 411 books, the hat goes in for free. You don't have to do anything else. You buy the books, we know you buy 2 books, the hat goes in. You buy our books at NA, like North America, nabigfootsearch.com. Go to the online store, find 2 Missing 411 books, you get the hat. It would help us greatly. The hats, we have had great responses from them. Remember, liberty. And while you're on there getting the books, you might want to buy the pin too, because you get the hat for free, but the pin, you want to get the pin. The pin's cool. Thanks for being here. Drive safe. Love your relatives and your friends. Be kind to service workers. It's the kindness revolution. Paulides out.